Right now, we are waking up to some fog this morning, but it is set to be the warmest weekend of the year so far. Chris will tell us just how warm we'll get and if we can expect any rain along with it. And it's just about time for tip-off as the Final Four begins in the Twin Cities today. How the Badgers will benefit even though they won't be taking the court. Plus, you can be a hero. The Wisconsin family's desperate call for help to make a miracle happen for their 5-month-old son in need of a partial liver transplant.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, Wisconsin, and thanks for joining us on this Saturday, April 6th. I'm Josh Breiter with meteorologist Chris Reese, and it was an interesting drive into the station this morning. It's still really foggy out there.
Just a little foggy, class. Yeah, that's right. That's how things are shaping up for us out there. Here's a live look from the station camera right now. Is it foggy? I can't tell. I wouldn't have no idea that it's foggy out there at all. It's not like it just smacks you in the face the moment you step outside. Hey, be prepared for that, folks, as you head out the door. Visibilities are low, and especially outside of the city. That's going to create some problems. Give yourself a little bit of extra time on the roadway. Zero visibility right now in Monroe, 3 miles here in Madison. So we have seen a little bit of an improvement this morning. As you work your way north and east of town towards Watertown and Juneau, again, that visibility comes right back down outside of the city of Madison. We do have dense fog advisories. That's all these areas that you see shaded in the gray. Those dense fog advisories are going to go until 10 o'clock this morning before we can allow them to expire. We can't see the Capitol this morning. The temperature, though, is mild at 44 degrees. Winds coming out of the south at 7. That south wind is going to be our friend to warming up our temperatures, especially as we go into the afternoon. 47 right now in Prairie du Chien. La Crosse 2 away from 50 right now, and things gradually get warmer as you work your way back towards the south and west. That's the warm air. It's going to be working into town. We do have some showers and thunderstorms to our north rolling out of Minnesota, but notice how from looking very impressive this morning to what it is now, we've seen this overall just begin to weaken a little bit. It's running into an environment that's less supportive of a big complex of some showers and thunderstorms. So we'll have that shower chance mainly north of us, but I do think we will actually see several dry hours here in the Madison area as we go through the afternoon. The cloud cover will stick around, especially with that fog being tough to burn off, but we're going to see those temperatures into the middle 60s. So yeah, enjoy that.
Well above average, right?
Oh, well above average by about 10 degrees at least.
Wow. All right, we'll take it, Chris. Thank you.
My pleasure.
New overnight, Fitchburg police are investigating a hit-and-run crash that sent 2 people to the hospital. It happened at Pike Drive and Egmont Road around 11:20, where both a person and vehicle were hit. The suspect vehicle is described as a 4-door red or maroon-colored sedan with damage to the front passenger side. It was last seen heading north on Egmont Road. The person hit by that car, as well as the driver of the other car, were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Anyone with information is asked to call the Madison Area Crime Stoppers. Also new this morning, Fitchburg police are searching for 2 or 3 men after an armed robbery. Officers were originally called to High Ridge Trail just west of Fish Hatchery Road around 11 last night for a report of shots fired. They found the sound heard was actually several people breaking into a vehicle in the parking lot and later the apartment associated with that car. Police believe the suspects were armed with handguns and a shotgun and stole items from the apartment before getting away. Police say this appears to be a targeted attack. We have 2 possible suspect descriptions on the Channel 3000 mobile app. Beloit police have issued an arrest warrant for a man they believe shot and killed someone during a drug deal gone bad earlier this year. Officers are searching for 38-year-old Jacob Davenport, who they believe shot James Tompton in early February. Police do not have Davenport in custody, but believe he could be in Texas. Investigators have identified the man accused of killing his wife in Wisconsin Dells. According to a criminal complaint, the suspect, 31-year-old Paushavev, was already facing 11 domestic abuse charges from January. Police found his wife, 23-year-old Tetiana Hushva, dead in a home on Washington Avenue during a welfare check Thursday. Autopsy results are still pending this morning. Paushavev is currently being held in the Columbia County Jail awaiting formal charges in that death. The FBI has filed criminal charges against an Ohio man who claimed to be a missing boy from Illinois. The 23-year-old suspect, Brian Reaney, reportedly said he was Timothy Pitson, who disappeared 8 years ago at the age of 6. The boy was last seen in the Wisconsin Dells. Federal officials have charged Rini with lying to an FBI agent about his true identity after a DNA test proved who he really was.
Mr. Rini told agents that he learned this information from watching a 2020 episode about Timothy Pitson. We confirmed that there was such a 2020 episode and that, in fact, a rerun had aired just several weeks ago.
The real Timothy Pitson was last seen at the Kalahari Resort in Wisconsin Dells. His mother was found dead in a Rockford motel room of an apparent suicide. Federal investigators hope this fresh attention on the case will bring new clues. One of the men featured in the Netflix series Making a Murderer is now in a less secure prison this weekend. State records show Brendan Dassey was moved this week from the maximum security Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage. He's now in the Oshkosh Correctional Institution, a medium security prison. Dassey is serving a life sentence for helping his uncle Stephen Avery sexually assault and kill Teresa Halbach in 2005. Dassey was 16 at the time and has argued for years that investigators coerced him into a confession. More local news at 8:05 this morning. There are almost 114,000 Americans waiting for an organ transplant. About 2,000 of them are in Wisconsin, and another person is added to that list every 10 minutes across the country. Madison hospitals are recognizing that need for donors this week, where a special flag was raised outside UW Hospital and Meriter Hospital. It represents the 8 lives one donor can save. One area woman donated her kidney to a total stranger in August of 2015.
In 2009, I lost my mom to domestic violence, and as horrifying as that was, I knew that I wanted to find a special way to honor her life, especially because she brought life into this world every day working as a nurse in the OB department. And my way that I found was to donate my kidney.
If you'd like to learn more about becoming an organ donor, visit donatelifewisconsin.org. Meanwhile, a Wisconsin family is asking for your help this morning in making a miracle happen. Their 5-month-old son is in need of a partial liver transplant. Doctors say Marcus Albers needs part of someone's liver in order to stay alive. The Waukesha family told Marcus only had a few weeks to live, and that was a week and a half ago already. He suffers from a rare disease called immune deficiency 47, which has already destroyed his own. There are only 12 other cases diagnosed in the world, and another one of them is Marcus's older brother, who's already 2 but will also need a transplant in the future. Parents Whitney McLean and Tony Albers found out about the genetic disease while they were pregnant with Marcus, and now they're looking for someone outside of the family to save their son.
We had backups to backups apparently, but I guess they all fell through too, so it just was, I don't know, shocking today. But today was a bad day, you know.
It was a kick to the gut.
The family hopes someone who hears about Marcus will come forward to be a donor. The ideal donor will be someone with either O positive or negative blood, weighs under 150 pounds, and is under the age of 40. They should also be in good health, not a heavy drinker or a smoker, and someone who has not been recently pregnant. On the Consumer Watch, your weekend shopping may cost you a little less after Amazon and Whole Foods announced they're cutting prices this week with an emphasis on high-quality produce. About 500 products, including greens, tomatoes, and fruits, will be discounted. Customers will save an average of 20% with those new prices. The Amazon-owned chain increased prices back in February. The company issued a statement saying they will continue to focus on both lowering prices and bringing customers the quality they trust. Meanwhile, a Bloomberg opinion piece argues Walmart is beating Amazon when it comes to the $35 billion grocery pickup market. That article says traditional stores are better suited to start curbside pickup services compared to Amazon, which only has a handful of physical stores. Both Walmart and Target say they're seeing high customer satisfaction numbers from their curbside pickups. Grocery pickup accounts for almost half of the Walmart sales growth over the past year. The parent company of Pick and Save is planning to stop using plastic bags in stores by 2025. A spokesperson says the transition will include consumer feedback to try and find the best alternative. Plastic bags can take 10 to 1,000 years to decompose, and 100 billion of those end up in landfills around the country every year. When Kroger-owned stores get rid of their plastic bags, 6 billion fewer bags will be faced in landfills every year. It is 8:08 right now. April is National Distracted Driver Awareness Month, and AAA has started a new campaign to raise awareness about drivers who use their smartphones behind the wheel. 2 years ago, Didi Gonzalez was hit head-on by a driver who was texting. She spent months in a wheelchair and then had to learn how to walk all over again. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says 9 people are killed every day as a result of distracted driving. Many of those distractions come from smartphones. This month, AAA has rolled out a public service campaign to get drivers' eyes back on the road.
People who would never get behind the wheel after drinking alcohol, yet don't think twice about getting behind the wheel and using that smartphone to text or email somebody.
There's nothing on your phone while you're driving that is more important than my life or someone else's life. There's just not.
A recent survey finds 97% of drivers say texting or emailing behind the wheel is a serious safety threat. Among those same drivers, 45% admit to reading a text or email behind the wheel within the last month, and 35% admit to sending a text or email. All right, it is almost tip-off time as the Final Four starts this afternoon right here on News 3 Now. Michigan State, Texas Tech, Auburn, and Virginia all arrived in the Twin Cities ahead of their games. Even though the Badgers aren't in the Final Four, this year they could still benefit. The Big Ten is expected to bring in about $38 million from the tournament, thanks to a number of teams in the field and how far each team advanced. That's the most out of any conference this year. The money will be split equally among the conference's 14 schools. You can catch the Final Four on News 3 Now tonight, starting with Auburn and Virginia just before or just after 5. Followed by Texas Tech and Michigan State right before 8. The national championship game is Monday night. If your family is looking for a one-tank weekend trip out of Madison this spring, behind-the-scenes tour at the Pfizer Forum in Milwaukee are scheduled to start up here in a couple of weeks. The tours will be 90 minutes long, giving fans a chance to learn more about the history of the Milwaukee Bucks. The tour shows off areas like the floor of the bowl, the Bucks locker room, and the interview room. Tickets are $15 for adults and $12 for kids. The first public tour is April 19th. Speaking of the Bucks, if you pick up a copy of Sports Illustrated this weekend, you'll see a familiar face. Giannis Antetokounmpo is gracing the cover of the latest issue. The story outlines the beginning stages of his relationship with his coach, who was drawn to become the new head coach last year because of Giannis's talent. The article explains how a notebook plays a big role in Giannis's process, allowing him to go back and look at the conversations he has with coaches. And it obviously seems to be paying off as he's a top contender for the MVP.
He walked in and he said, thank you for putting me the Sports Illustrated cover. I was like, what are you talking about? And then he said, you're on the cover. And I was like, okay, good to know. I didn't know that. I just, woke up, got my stuff, came to practice. And he was happy that he was in the background. And I was like, yeah, I got you, bro. Like, that's what.
You planned that.
Yeah, I definitely planned that.
The Bucks play the Nets at 4 o'clock this afternoon. 8:12 is your time on this Saturday morning, and we're starting off a little foggy out there right now, but we're expecting a nice mild day ahead. Here's a live look over the Capitol, which you can barely see under that fog this morning. Chris will tell us just how warm we'll get and when we can expect some showers and thunderstorms to move in this weekend. You're watching News 3 Now this morning.
Well, we're waking up to just a little bit of fog outside this morning, but thankfully we're starting to see that fog lift. Here's a live look over the Edgewater sky camera as we speak. We can now actually see the Capitol for the first time so far today, so that is certainly some good news. This is a live look from our station camera. Still the fog a little bit heavier here on the west side of town, but you're starting to see the townhouses in the neighborhood just below the hill there. Visibility starting to get better for a lot of folks. Still some pockets of zero visibility, especially down towards Monroe. We're up towards 3 miles here in Madison, and then a quarter-mile visibility as you work your way north and east of town. Temperature-wise, we are in the low to mid-40s, 44 right now here in Madison. Winds coming out of the south, but 46 as you work your way over towards Lone Rock, Boscobel, and Prairie du Chien, both at 47. And those warmer temperatures to the south and west, those are going to be working their way into town as we head into this afternoon. But we're also going to watch that chance for some showers, especially towards the north of Madison. We had a pretty powerful complex of showers and thunderstorms over southern Minnesota overnight and early this morning. It's starting to move into some air that's not so supportive for those showers and thunderstorms. So we're starting to see what's left over of that moving into the north woods of the state. On the southern fringe, you can still see some showers this afternoon. And so that's why we do have that chance, at least for us. But the bigger shower chance is actually going to come into Sunday. We could see some sunshine this afternoon. We're talking temperatures that work their way into the mid-60s. I definitely hope we get that sunshine out there. Here we are into Sunday. Check out the chances for showers and thunderstorms coming in pretty much off and on all day long. So while it won't be a total washout, you're just going to have to play splash and dash when it comes to the showers. Temperatures, though, again, will work their way into the upper 60s for those highs. We're going to stay in this unsettled pattern, though, that's actually going to pick up in terms of how active it's going to get. We have a powerful jet stream over the Pacific Ocean right now. This is bringing in storm system after storm system into the west coast, diving them down towards Texas and then curling back up towards the Ohio River Valley. That's bringing threats for severe weather across the south both today and into tomorrow. But then we're also watching this system towards the middle of the week. For the past several days, it's looked like a potential snowmaker for us. Overnight, some of the model runs did trend a bit warmer there to where it now could be a severe weather maker for us. So we're really going to watch the movement and track of that low as we go through time. Otherwise, expect some sunshine on Monday and Tuesday with very warm temperatures. Of course, that shower chance tomorrow. But let's focus on these nice days that we have before we focus on the middle of next week.
Sounds good to me. We'll enjoy those 60s while we can. All right, Josh. Thanks, Chris. If you're looking to get outside and enjoy the mild weather this weekend, all 4 Madison golf courses are now open for the season. Glenway, Monona, Odana Hills, and Yahara Hills all opened up this week. Remember, you can always book your tee time by clicking on the golf tab on the City of Madison's website. Well, this time of the year is the best time to hit the links if you hate mosquitoes, and who doesn't, of course. But a new study shows a certain kind of electronic music could help repel mosquitoes. The BBC cites a study conducted by a team of international scientists finding certain sounds can affect mosquito reproduction and population maintenance. Researchers tested a song by dubstep artist Skrillex and found the mixture of high and low frequencies distracted females from biting people. It also decreased the frequency at which mosquitoes reproduced. Well, we'll see just about that. All right, it is 8:19 right now, and tickets are now on sale for the next Avengers movie. We'll tell you why you may want to purchase your tickets sooner rather than later. And there are several shows and movies for you to enjoy this weekend. Will has you covered with 3 things to watch when News 3 Now This Morning returns. Welcome back at 8:22 in entertainment news this morning. The man who sings about showgirls at the Copacabana will be spending a little bit more time in his own showroom. Barry Manilow's residency will be extended through October at the Westgate International Theater in Las Vegas. The singer also has a new album called Night Songs 2, which will be released in June. Manilow calls this a standard piano album, like having him in your own living room singing for you. You'll want to get your tickets soon if you're interested in seeing the highly anticipated Avengers Endgame. The movie opens up nationwide April 26th, but this week it set Fandango's first day pre-sales record in only 6 hours, overtaking Star Wars The Force Awakens. The fan frenzy also crashed AMC's website and ticketing app. And you can have a marathon of your own this weekend. If you're looking for suggestions of what's worth it, Will Loper has you covered with 3 things to watch.
Is the Beetle for sale?
Yours, kid. Happy birthday.
New on home video this week is Bumblebee.
Oh my God. What are you?
Haley Steinfeld stars as Charlie, who finds an old beat-up VW bug and finds out, yep, it's a transformer in the surprisingly highly reviewed film.
Here's the deal. People can be terrible about things they don't understand. From now on, the only person you can show yourself around is me. Oh, I'm good. No, I'm good, thanks.
Bumblebee is available to rent or buy everywhere now.
Holy.
Need help, sir?
Oh. Also arriving on home video this week is The Mule. Clint Eastwood stars in the true life story as a man in his 80s who finds himself smuggling drugs for a cartel and starts getting tracked by the DEA.
I didn't deserve forgiveness. This is the last one.
The Mule is available to rent or buy everywhere now.
For what it's worth, I'm sorry for everything.
Hello, Katerina. Make anyone cry today?
Sadly, no. But it's only 4:30.
Finally, this week marks the 20-year anniversary of 1999's 10 Things I Hate About You.
Hi, how you doing? Would any of you be interested in dating Katerina Stratford?
Maybe if we were the last 2 people alive and there were no sheep. Are there sheep?
The film, which is based on Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew, stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a high schooler who must get bad boy Heath Ledger to start dating the unpleasant Kat Stratford, played by Julia Stiles, so that he can date her younger sister.
You're gonna pay me to take out some chick.
Mm-hmm.
How much?
$20.
Fine, 30.
10 Things I Hate About You is available to rent or buy everywhere now.
You can't just buy me a guitar every time you screw up, you know.
Yeah, I know. But then, you know, there's always drums and bass and maybe even one day a tambourine.
Happy watching. Those are the 3 things you need to watch. And this is Will Loper for News 3 Now this morning.
If you enjoy thrillers with spectacular underwater scenes, there's a good chance those films will be made in Belgium in the future. The most advanced underwater film studio in the world just opened there. The brand new water studio is the most specialized in the world. Until now, film recordings with large water effects were reserved for outdoor water studios, where it can be carried out faster, safer, and cheaper. The studio is about the same size as an Olympic swimming pool, but 33 feet deep. 8:27 right now, and there's more local news ahead, including the latest on an armed robbery in Fitchburg and the ongoing search for the men involved. Plus, the construction changes, delays, and headaches you should know about before heading out the door this weekend. Thanks for joining us on News 3 Now this morning. Right now, after a desperate move for her child's safety overseas, we'll show you an emotional reunion 15 years in the making.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning to you at home, and thanks for staying with us on this Saturday, April 6th. I'm Josh Breiter, 8:30 on the nose right now. Chris has a mild weekend of weather ahead for us and a chance for some showers and thunderstorms. We'll get to him in just a moment. But first, new overnight, Fitchburg police are searching for 2 or 3 men after an armed robbery. Officers were originally called to High Ridge Trail just west of Fish Hatchery Road around 11 last night for reports of shots being fired. They found the sound heard was actually several people breaking into a vehicle in the parking lot and later the apartment associated with that car. Police believe the suspects were armed with handguns and a shotgun and stole items from the apartment before getting away. Police say this appears to be a targeted attack. We have 2 possible suspect descriptions on the Channel 3000 mobile app. Also new this morning, Fitchburg police are investigating after a hit-and-run accident sent 2 people to the hospital. It happened at Pike Drive and Eggman Road around 11:20 last night, where a person and a vehicle were both hit. The suspect vehicle is described as a 4-door red or maroon-colored sedan with damage to the front passenger side. It was last seen heading north on Eggman Road. That person hit by the car, as well as the driver of the other car, were taken to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Anyone with information is asked to call Madison area Crime Stoppers. Here's an extra reason to keep your eyes on the road this weekend. April is Distracted Driver Awareness Month, and AAA has started a new campaign to raise awareness about drivers who use their smartphones behind the wheel. A recent survey finds 97% of drivers say texting or emailing behind the wheel is a serious safety threat. But among those same drivers, 45% admit to reading a text or email behind the wheel within the last month. 35% admit to sending a text or email. You'll want to leave some extra time if you're driving through downtown this weekend. Work is now underway for the $3.5 million street reconstruction project at the intersection of John Nolan Drive and Willie Street. The project affects many of the surrounding streets and paths as well. The city hopes to have that project finished by mid-August. The other major project happening right now is on Johnson Street, where crews are tackling around 3,000 feet of roadway from Baldwin all the way to First. All right, over to Chris now, who's keeping an eye on that fog and hopefully some clearing this morning.
That's right. The sun is like magic sometimes, because literally about 10 to 15 minutes ago from our station camera, it was completely gray, Josh, but we are now able to see more. Still hazy on the horizon, still a little bit of fog out there, but visibility is greatly getting better across much of south central Wisconsin. Now up to 3/4 of a mile in Monroe. Still a 1/4 mile visibility as you work your way towards Dodge County and northern Waukesha County, 1 mile as you work your way into Waukesha as far as the city. Right now, still though, dense fog advisories that are going to continue. They may come down early, but right now they are going until 10 o'clock. Temperatures are going to start rising as well now that we're starting to see some of that fog lift on out of here. 44 right now, but as we go through time, I do think we are going to get a lot better with that. 47 in Boscobel right now, La Crosse at 48, 42 in Monroe, even Janesville at 46. And then we still do have that shower chance mainly around the Dells and then points towards the north as this weak complex of showers and thunderstorms continues to fizzle out over the north woods. So plan that as you go through the rest of the day. Temperatures reaching 57 by lunchtime and 64 by 4. Josh?
All right, Chris, thank you. Imagine being so desperate for your child's safety that you put her in the hands of a complete stranger and rely on him to do the right thing. That's the situation one mother faced 15 years ago. She tried to get her daughter out of a war-ravaged nation and to the U.S. for medical care. Here's Dana Jacobson.
20-year-old Maya Hughes and her mother, Zainab Cisse, who simply goes by Z, call California home. But 15 years ago, the two were on an extended African stay in Z's native Sierra Leone.
Yeah, I wanted her to learn every bit of my background, kind of get back to my roots and visit my grandmother. Maya picked up on speaking Creole within 2 weeks of when we got there and completely forgot how to speak English.
So it was a fun adventure.
But Sierra Leone had just emerged from a devastating civil war and was not an easy place for a mother and small child.
I hadn't thought of that. So thoroughly to know that the country is still not in the shape that it should be in.
One night, a fire broke out in Maya's room, burning the mattress she was sleeping on. Z raced to rescue her.
I remember the pajamas I was wearing. I remember smoke. I don't remember much after that.
She couldn't stay here anymore, and I gathered every penny I owned at that moment, went to the airport, only had enough money to go buy a ticket just for her, and that is where the story of Tom Perriello began.
We can build things.
Tom Perriello is a former U.S. congressman, but at the time, he was a young lawyer in Sierra Leone working on a war crimes court. He was at the airport to fly home for his grandmother's funeral.
I got to the front of the line, and the airline attendant said, "You're Tom Perriello, right?" And which I got from time to time, and I said, "Sure."
So we get to the airport to ask the counter clerk to see who was traveling to the United States. She goes in Creole, "Dat white man," meaning that white man over there is traveling. I approached him. I said, "Excuse me, sir." I said, "Could you please travel with my daughter? It's an emergency."
And of course, my response was, no, and may I repeat, heck no.
And so I pleaded with him, and he finally said, "Okay, I'll do it."
The two strangers boarded a plane to head home. But first, they had to make a stop in Côte d'Ivoire, then a second stop in Brussels, Belgium, before heading to the States. In all, about 7,500 miles and 20 hours of travel.
I was just crying and crying, and he's trying to calm me down.
So this is a long and complicated journey that frankly had plenty of drama and complications along the way.
He was singing to me on the plane. I remember that he was singing in Creole.
It wasn't even just that I knew one song. It was just basically one verse over and over again for about an hour.
When they landed at Dulles Airport in Virginia, Perriello got the little girl safely to her grandmother. But it was too late to make his connecting flight. He missed his own grandmother's funeral. Z would join Maya about a month after she sent her daughter to the U.S. For 15 years, they never saw or spoke to Perriello. They never had the chance to thank him, until now. We arranged for a face-to-face reunion in New York City after the trio reconnected by email, thanks to one of Z's cousins.
For 15 years, I felt like I've been looking for a ghost, a person that didn't exist.
What was that like downstairs?
That was crazy, unexpected.
Is this closure in a way for all of you, or is it the start of something else?
I feel like it's the start of something else. I want to call it closure, but it feels like a new beginning because I refound him.
How do you thank someone for what he did for you?
You don't. You can't. You can't, honestly. I can never thank him enough. No matter what I do from this point forward, it will never be enough for what he did.
You have lots of reasons to say no to something, and there are moments to say yes, and I'm really glad that I did in that case, as crazy as it was.
I don't want to cry, but I'm really emotional about it because I feel like he saved my life, because if I would have stayed, I don't know where I would have been. I think it was destiny, because it could have been anybody, and anything could have happened, and he brought me back here, so I don't think I can say thank you, really.
That was Dana Jacobson reporting. All right, looking for something to do this weekend? We've got several ideas for you and your family. From a film festival perfect for all movie lovers, and to a dance show and a controversial musical, we have the details coming up in your Weekend 608 on News 3 Now this morning. Welcome back at 8:42. It is the weekend in the 608.
That's right, Josh, and here's a look at what's happening around Madison.
First up, the Wisconsin Film Festival is underway from now until next Thursday. When it ends, 153 full-length and short films from 25 countries will be shown at 5 venues in town. The film includes documentaries, animation, and experimental films. The festival also shows films appropriate for kids.
All right, the Line Breaks Festival also continues this weekend in the Play Circle Theater at the UW Memorial Union. It's a 5-day-long showcase for current and former students of the UW-Madison's First Wave Hip Hop Scholarship Program. It includes musical performances, theater, dance, poetry readings, visual art, along with some academic talks. The festival is now in its 13th year.
And a touring Broadway musical is also in town. Miss Saigon, one of the longest running musicals on Broadway, is set during the Vietnam War and is controversial for its dated caricatures of the Vietnamese people. UW Asian Studies professor wrote an essay about the stereotypes, and the Overture Center scheduled, then canceled, a panel discussion to address those concerns. That show runs through tomorrow.
And as always, you can pick up a copy of this month's Madison magazine for all of the best in the Madison area.
And it looks like it's going to be a great weekend to get outside and enjoy the warmth. I know we plan to break out the tennis rackets for the first time this year, but I'm wondering if we're going to have to dodge a few raindrops out there.
Probably. I'll tell you in a few minutes, but right now you are looking live over the Capitol. I am tracking the whole forecast coming up in your weekend forecast after the break.
We'll look forward to that, but first, happy birthday to Lennox and all of the other kids turning 3 today. Thanks for celebrating with us on News 3 Now this morning.
All right, we are finally starting to see that fog lift on out of town right now. We do have a little bit of gray skies, though, on the horizon. That was the Edgewater. This is now the WISC-TV camera. Still a little hazy on the horizon from the fog that we do have left in town. But visibility, folks, now at 5 miles, now up at 1.75 miles in Watertown. Still a 1/4 mile in Juneau, but things are getting a lot better for us across south central Wisconsin as we speak. That means those dense fog advisories are likely going to be able to be expired early. 45 degrees now, still cloudy, still dealing with those winds out of the south. We're going to see that southerly wind all day. Still 46 in Mineral Point, same for our friends in Janesville. 44 in the Dells right now, and for the most part, we are starting to get rid of the 30s. There's still a couple 30s as you work your way along the lakeshore. Showers over near La Crosse and Camp Douglas. Those have since dissipated as this whole complex continues to fall apart for the most part along the North Woods. But as we go through the rest of the day, I do think we'll actually see a little bit of holes in the cloud cover as well. Perhaps some periods of sunshine, temperatures that'll top out into the mid and perhaps even upper 60s for some of us. More cloud cover moves in overnight. Here we are at lunchtime tomorrow. You're going to see shower and thunderstorm chances moving into the picture, perhaps some small hail as well. Nothing major, no big severe weather outbreaks expected, but still signs that it is spring. Temperatures will work their way into the low and mid and even upper 60s, just depending on where you are and where that rain falls. Tomorrow's going to be one of those days where location certainly matters between what you get and what your neighbor down the road gets. But there's going to be chances for showers and thunderstorms pretty much all day tomorrow, though it won't be a total washout. Overall, throughout the weekend, we are going to stay stormy throughout most of the country just because there are several disturbances that are going to be influencing our weather. But then there are more disturbances to come from the Pacific Ocean down through the Four Corners and up through the plains and towards the Ohio Valley. This is actually going to be leading to some severe weather later today throughout Texas and then parts of the Arklatex region and into Mississippi. These storms that you see near Dallas right now, those will likely blossom into something severe into the afternoon, and then severe weather continuing into Sunday all the way up towards parts of central Illinois. We're going to watch the next system that comes our way after that one. Recently, up in recent days, the models have been showing this as a snowstorm. Overnight, they have trended northward and are now showing the possibility of severe weather for us, which of course we want to watch closely, given that next week is actually Severe Weather Awareness Week here in Wisconsin. But right now, we do have temperatures in the 40s and the chance of a mix. In the meantime, chances for thunder tomorrow, but temperatures are feeling absolutely fantastic. Here's Riley and Cooper in Middleton. Look at that. Reminding me of some childhood pets there.
Yeah, very cute there. And a great day to get outside and walk the pets.
It really is going to be. Even if it's cloudy, it's not going to be too terrible.
All right, Chris, thank you. Well, we've been asking you to share your morning with us, and Pat posted this on Facebook of a sunrise in rural Orfordville. A beautiful shot there, Pat. Thank you so much for sharing. So what does your morning look like? Take a picture and post it to our Channel 3000 social media pages using the hashtag MyNews3Morning. The UW Arboretum is celebrating something else besides spring this weekend. It is now officially a historic or National Historic Site. The ARB's listing in the National Historic Site Register recognizes it as the birthplace of ecological restoration. It's a concept the Arboretum Committee unknowingly pioneered under the leadership of Aldo Leopold in the 1930s.
What I think is really exciting about that designation is that it recognizes our past, and it also really recognizes our future, because it says that what we're doing here made a difference through time, which is a continuum.
The Arboretum joins the list of more than 150 historical places in Madison and 2,400 in Wisconsin. 8:51 right now. Coming up tomorrow morning, starting at 6:30, we're heading to Hilldale to check out Crescendo, the outdoor mall's latest coffee, breakfast, and music joint, how they found success expanding as other restaurants are struggling. But first this morning, we meet the 65-year-old former major leaguer staging a comeback to the game he loves. Why this return to the field is much different than his first go-around. This is News 3 Now this morning. Welcome back at 8:54. Jerry Manuel played ball throughout the 70s and 80s and managed the Sox and Mets in the 90s and 2000s. Now he's staging a comeback.
But it's probably not what you think. Mark Strassman catches up with the former big leaguer who now has a new mission.
On this field in Northern California, Jerry Manuel is staging a baseball comeback.
1, 2, 3,
He's getting young black athletes back in the game.
This was farmland, this was high grass, this was anything but a baseball field.
Manuel built the field and their interest in the game.
Take it back there.
He's 65, a retired big league player and manager, something rare these days. Since 1986, the number of black players on major league rosters has dropped from 19% to 8%.
A bat's $300. Some of these travel programs charge you $1,000 a month.
Not happening.
Not happening. I got to do what I can do with my experience and my resources to make a change.
What would correlation mean to you?
Like a pattern?
In 2013, he launched Alpha Charter High School. Its baseball-themed curriculum emphasizes excellence through repetition in the classroom and on the field, and teaches trailblazer Jackie Robinson's character values: courage, determination, teamwork.
You can't get on the field until you get that right. And once that's right, then you can get on the field.
You got to earn it.
You got to earn it.
More than 30 kids play here now, most from challenging backgrounds.
Good.
Some have been homeless.
Does your family have the money to do travel ball?
No, sir.
Ronnie Belton's 17 and has a scholarship to play college baseball.
I didn't have a father growing up in the picture, so we didn't have the financial stability. So I want to find a way to help my family out.
Baseball could be your ticket.
Yes, sir.
Come get it. The goal is to make them better men, make them better human beings. They're out here to see you put your best foot forward. If you can learn self-discipline, you got a chance to make some inroads in life.
See you guys tomorrow.
They'll play on prettier fields, but this is the one they'll always remember. Mark Strassman, CBS News, Alberta, California.
Feel-good story right there.
Yeah, beautiful stuff right there. Beautiful weather coming in for the weekend, especially in terms of temperatures. We will have some chances for rain and even some showers and thunderstorms into Sunday, but we're talking temperatures, Josh, into the upper 60s. And on Monday, I do think our 65 might be too cold. We may have to adjust upwards on that as well. So some good weather coming down the pike before things get a little messy towards Wednesday into Thursday.
All right, Chris, we'll enjoy it while we can. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Make it a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning starting at 6:30.